The next day, Angela sat in her office, flipping through documents with little focus. Her thoughts were scattered, her emotions tangled. A soft knock on the door snapped her back to reality. "Come in," she said, her voice steady. Mabel walked in, holding a stack of documents. Her expression was calm but distant as she placed the files on Angela's desk. "Here are the documents you requested." Angela scanned through them quickly, then looked up. "Mabel," she began hesitantly, "I know you're angry about yesterday, but it's not what you think." Mabel raised a hand, her voice firm. "Save it, Angela. Or should I say, madam? I don't want to hear anything. Let's just stick to work." Angela sighed, standing up. "Please, Mab, hear me out, just this once." Mabel crossed her arms, but didn't leave.
"Fine.
"Make it quick." Angela took a deep breath. "Tommy explained everything to me. The girl you saw at his house is a client. She's from a family that owns one of the largest tech firms, and he's been trying to secure a deal with them. She told him the only way she'd sign was if he agreed to her terms. He said he did it for me, for the company." Mabel stared at her in disbelief. "And you believe this nonsense story?" Angela hesitated. I want to believe him. He says it's all for us. And I've cautioned him. If he ever has to make a decision like that again, he'll involve me first." Mabel let out a bitter laugh, shaking her head. "Angela, are you hearing yourself? Even a child wouldn't fall for this cut-and-paste story. So, what about the secretary? Was that work too?" Angela looked down at her desk, avoiding Mabel's piercing gaze.
"No.
That was a mistake. But I've forgiven him. Please, Mab, trust me on this. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt." Mabel's voice sharpened. "I gave you the benefit of the doubt the first time, Angela."
"And the second."
"And now what? The 10th time?" She picked up the pre-contract file Angela had motioned toward. "Enjoy your life, Angela. I'm done putting my mouth into this. From now on, everything will stay professional." Angela reached out. "Mab, Mabel cut her off. "Save it," she said, walking to the door with the file. The door closed behind her with a soft but final click. Angela sat back down, her office suddenly too quiet. She stared blankly at the window, her heart heavy with doubt and guilt. Mabel entered Kevin's office, her usual warm demeanor replaced with a cold professionalism. She placed the file on his desk without meeting his eyes. "Here's the pre-contract," she said curtly. "Angela wants you to look over it." Kevin frowned, sensing the tension. "Mabel, is everything okay?" She hesitated, her lips tightening. "Do your job, Kevin," she said, turning to leave. Kevin watched her go, a sinking feeling in his chest. Something was wrong, very wrong. Back in her office, Angela turned her chair toward the window, watching the city buzz below. Her phone buzzed, breaking the silence. A message from Tommy. "Dinner tonight? I'll make it up to you." Angela closed her eyes, unsure whether to feel comforted or suffocated. Far away, Mabel sat alone in the break room, her jaw clenched, feeling so worried about her friend. The tension builds. Angela sat in her office, staring at the message from Tommy. "Dinner tonight? I'll make it up to you." She sighed heavily, her emotions a tangled mess of confusion and frustration. Finally, she stood and made her way to Kevin's office, her heels clicking softly against the polished floor. Kevin looked up from his desk as she entered. "Good afternoon, ma'am." Angela gave him a faint smile. "Kevin, I wanted to thank you for keeping your promise to Michael. He was so happy after you played the game with him. He couldn't stop talking about it." Kevin's face softened. "I'm glad Michael enjoyed it. He's a great kid, and it was fun spending time with him." Angela hesitated for a moment before her expression turned more serious. "Kevin, is everything okay with Mabel? I noticed she seemed off earlier." Kevin's brow furrowed. She didn't say much, but it was clear something's bothering her. "Is everything all right between you two?" Angela let out a small laugh, though it lacked humor. "Relating to that." She paused, gathering her words carefully. "I know you're already aware of the situation between me and Tommy." Kevin's jaw tightened, but he didn't interrupt. "I know Tommy has his faults," Angela continued, "but he's a good man and he's the man I love." Kevin's frown deepened. With all due respect, ma'am, why are you telling me this? Angela's tone shifted, becoming cold. Because I want to make this clear. Your friendship with Michael ends here. I'll speak to him myself, but you won't be meeting him again. From now on, let's keep everything strictly professional. Kevin's heart sank, but he kept his voice steady. I'm sorry if you see it that way, ma'am. But my friendship with Michael has nothing to do with your relationship with Tommy. Angela's eyes narrowed. Kevin, he held up a hand gently. If I may, just this once. I'd like to say something unprofessionally. Please, rethink this decision. I spoke to Tommy, and his words. They don't sound like someone who truly cares about the woman he says he loves. Angela's expression darkened, and her voice was sharp. Do you realize a statement like that could cost you your job? Kevin remained composed. I understand, ma'am. That's why I asked for permission to speak freely. But thank you for letting me say my piece. Angela crossed her arms. I'll let this slide, Kevin. But next time, I won't tolerate it. With that, she turned on her heel and left the room, leaving Kevin standing there, confused and frustrated. Angela walked briskly down the hallway, her mind racing. She clenched her fists, willing herself not to cry. Why does everyone feel the need to meddle in my life? Back in his office, Kevin leaned against his desk, staring blankly at the file he'd been working on. His chest tightened as Tommy's mocking words echoed in his mind. She'll always come back to me, no matter what I do. Meanwhile, Angela's phone buzzed in her pocket. Another message from Tommy. Don't be late tonight, babe. I've got something special planned. Angela stared at the screen, her fingers trembling. Was she making the right choices? The fancy dinner. Angela parked her car outside the upscale restaurant, taking a deep breath before stepping out. The night air was cool, and the restaurant's golden lights glimmered, promising elegance and charm. She entered, scanning the tables until she saw Tommy waving at her. Angela, over here, Tommy called out, standing to greet her. She walked over, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor. Tommy, she said, taking a seat. Tommy smiled and signaled the waiter, who promptly brought over a bottle of champagne on a silver tray. The label was unfamiliar to Angela. It looked expensive. This is new, Angela said with a raised eyebrow. Did you win the jackpot or something? Tommy chuckled, his tone playful.
What do you mean by that?
Are you saying I'm not romantic? Not in this way, Angela replied, a small smile tugging at her lips. Tommy leaned forward, pouring the champagne into their glasses. Don't worry. A lot of things are going to change from now on. Angela, I know I haven't been the best man to you. So much has happened between us, but through it all, you've stayed. You still trust in our love, and for that, I'm grateful. Tonight, I want to celebrate us. Angela's heart skipped a beat. She thought he was about to propose. Her eyes softened as she watched him lift his glass. I love you, Angela, Tommy continued. I can't imagine spending my life without you. Angela felt her chest tighten, her cheeks flushing. Was this really happening? But then, Tommy glanced past her, his expression flickering. A beautiful woman had just entered the restaurant with two friends, her laughter carrying through the air. Tommy hesitated for a moment before smiling and saying, Let's drink to our love and our future. Angela's smile faltered slightly, but she raised her glass. To us. The champagne was crisp and light, but Angela couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was off. Their food arrived, and they ate while chatting casually, though Tommy's attention kept drifting. A shift in focus. Angela followed Tommy's gaze and noticed it was fixed on the same woman he had noticed earlier. She tensed, her fork pausing midair. Really? Angela said, her tone sharp. You're admiring another woman in my presence? Tommy snapped back, his expression annoyed. This is your problem, Angela. You always assume things in your head. You always make me the bad guy. Angela blinked in shock, speechless. Tommy sighed dramatically. That woman looks familiar. I'm trying to remember where I've seen her. Wait. He snapped his fingers. I got it. She's Abel's sister, your highest investor. I met them together once. That's why I seem distracted. But, of course, you jump to conclusions. Angela softened, guilt creeping into her tone. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. But you have to understand my situation. Tommy nodded curtly, but said nothing. Moments later, he saw the woman get up and head toward the exit. Excuse me, Tommy said, rising. I need a smoke. Angela watched him leave, her gut telling her something was wrong. In the dimly lit parking garage, Tommy found the woman leaning against her car, trying to light a cigarette. Need help? Tommy asked, pulling out his lighter. The woman flinched, startled. That was creepy, she said, her eyes narrowing. Tommy grinned. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. I'm Tommy, by the way. I didn't ask your name, she replied flatly. Tommy leaned casually against his sleek Porsche, lighting his own cigarette. Courtesy demands that we exchange names, don't you think? Especially with someone as beautiful as you. The woman smirked. Sweet talker, huh? So, why didn't you just ask me for a cigarette instead of using your own? Tommy chuckled. Well, someone who won't even share her name probably wouldn't share her cigarette either. She laughed lightly. You've got 3 professions in one: diplomat, lawyer, and sweet-talking lover boy. Should I be scared? Not at all, Tommy said smoothly. Let's start fresh. Hi, I'm Tommy. And you are? He extended his hand. She hesitated before taking it. Annabelle. You can call me Anna. Anna, Tommy repeated, his voice dripping with charm. A beautiful name for a beautiful lady. Anna raised an eyebrow. Careful, lover boy. I saw you with a woman inside. That. Tommy scoffed. She's a business partner. A desperate one, too. That's why I need your help. My help?
How?
Anna asked, intrigued. Tommy pulled out his phone, pulling up Angela's profile.
See?
We're here for business, but she's trying to make it personal. I just need to close a deal with her. Once it's done, I'll drop her off. But back inside the restaurant, Angela was still at the table, fiddling with her glass. Everything okay? She asked when Tommy returned. Perfect, he said, his grin too wide. But Angela wasn't convinced. She glanced at her phone, the tension between them thickening. What are you hiding, Tommy? She thought. Meanwhile, in the parking garage, Anna lit another cigarette, staring at Tommy's number. A smirk played on her lips. Let's see how far this game goes. The car proposal. Angela and Tommy exited the restaurant, the cool night air brushing against their skin. Tommy seemed distant, glancing at his phone before turning to Angela. Can we go to my car?
I want to show you something, Tommy said.
Angela hesitated but nodded, following him. Inside the car, Tommy reached into the glove compartment and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it, revealing a sparkling ring. Angela's eyes widened in surprise. I wanted to propose to you inside, Tommy said, his tone clipped. But you pissed me off. Angela blinked. What? Angela, we can't claim to love each other if we don't trust one another, Tommy continued. I apologized, Angela said, her voice soft but firm. And even if I upset you, you could have waited for another time to propose. But this? Do you call this a proposal? Tommy's jaw tightened. Don't lecture me about being romantic. You ruined everything tonight with your insecurities. If you don't want the ring, then forget it. He dropped the ring on her lap, his expression cold. Angela sat frozen, her heart sinking. She stared at the ring, her fingers trembling. Finally, she looked up at Tommy, her voice breaking. Why do you always blame me for everything? Why don't you respect me, Tommy? I try so hard to make this relationship work, but you keep pushing me away. Maybe you don't want this as much as I do. Tommy sighed, running a hand through his hair. I didn't mean it that way. I just got angry when you accused me of staring at another woman. You know how much I hate that. Angela turned to open the car door, but Tommy grabbed her wrist gently. Wait, he said, picking up the ring. He slid it onto her finger.
There.
We're engaged now. Angela stared at the ring, her heart heavy. Just like that, she whispered. So my opinion doesn't matter at all? Tommy snapped, his voice sharp. Angela, what do you want from me? I told you I have an appointment, and you're delaying me. Can we stop this already? His phone will ring, You see, the person I have appointment with is already calling. Angela's eyes filled with tears, but she refused to let them fall. You said this evening was for us, Tommy. She shook her head, pushing the door open. Enjoy your evening. Angela. Tommy started, but she was already walking toward her car. The party later that evening, Tommy sat in his car, frowning at his phone. It buzzed, displaying Anna's name. He picked up. Hi, beautiful, he said, his voice instantly smoother. Are you coming, or do I have to find someone else to entertain me? Anna teased on the other end. Tommy smirked. I'm on my way. Within minutes, Tommy pulled up to the curb where Anna stood in a sleek dress, her hair falling in loose waves. She climbed into the passenger seat, her smile coy. So, where are we going? Anna asked, crossing her legs. There's a party at a friend's place, Tommy replied. You'll love it. The drive was filled with light banter and flirtation, Anna's laughter echoing in the car. At the party, Tommy couldn't take his eyes off her, introducing her as his special friend. Hours later, after drinks and dancing, Tommy leaned in close. Want to head back to my place? Anna smirked. I thought you'd never ask. Angela sat on her bed, staring at the ring on her finger. It felt heavy, like a chain instead of a promise. Her mind replayed Tommy's words, his tone dismissive and cold. Her phone buzzed. It was Mabel. Angela hesitated before answering. Mab, Don't even start. Mabel cut in. Where are you? Are you okay? Angela swallowed hard, her voice trembling. I'm fine. I'm home. Did he? Mabel hesitated. Did he propose? Angela's silence was answer enough. Mabel sighed deeply. Angela, you deserve so much better than this. You know that, don't you? I need to go, Angela whispered, hanging up. Meanwhile, at Tommy's house, laughter echoed through the living room as Anna twirled a glass of wine in her hand. Tommy leaned back on the couch, his eyes fixed on her. You're full of surprises, Tommy, Anna said, her voice low and sultry. Tommy smirked, raising his glass. And the night's just getting started. Tommy will take her upstairs and lay her on the bed they begin to.
Hi everyone, hope you're enjoying the story. While you wait for the next episode, check out Lesbian's Adventure, Inside Girls Hostel, on our second channel, Reality Love Tales. Find the link in the comments section and don't forget to subscribe.